Hey everybody, this is a continuation on my last video where I was talking about cryptocurrency and paying your taxes. As I mentioned before in my previous video, this is not tax advice. What this video is about, as the last one is, to just let you know that for cryptocurrency, you gotta pay your goddamn taxes. And in this video, I'm basically going to show you how I'm going to be documenting all of my various transactions so that when the time comes, I have the information I need easily accessible to either provide it to an accountant or just file the taxes on my own. With that said, I'm going to toggle over to this template I made. It is painful to maintain, and it is painful to think about how much shit I'm gonna have to add to it as I do more transactions, but that's just life, I guess. So basically, what I did in this template is I made up all these fields. I'm assigning each transaction a unique ID. I'm calling out the token symbol, the quantity of the token, the price of the token in US dollars at the time of the transaction. So if you are not using US dollars, obviously use your own currency, fiat currency, or whatever it is you're using. And then I have a field for transaction type, the date, the value in US dollars. Once again, if you have your own currency, then and just change this to have it be your own currency. And then I call out the ledger balance. So this ledger balance is specific to the ledger, which I then call out here. And then I felt like it'd be useful to know if transactions are related to each other. I have a note, and then I have a field that's called transaction record. So like if I have a public record of the transaction, I'll just put the link in here. So my first set of transactions is for an ICO I actually participated in today. And so even though in our heads it's just like a quick, you buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum and then you trade it for an ICO token. When I actually was breaking it down into here, I didn't realize how much you could actually break it down. So anyways, I'll walk you through this. So the first thing I did is I had to buy Ethereum to participate in the ICO, and I assigned it the unique ID of 1. I called that the token symbol, and I bought 0.23 Ethereum at this market price, and I categorized it as an asset purchase. I just made this value up. I made just all the terms and all of the fields here up. And then I indicated the date of the transaction, and I called out the value in US dollars. And so here it was $100.06 worth of Ethereum. And then I went ahead and called out what the ledger balance was, specifically my balance on the Ethereum ledger. So that was my balance on the Ethereum ledger after that. Didn't have any related transactions, no notes, and no transaction record that I could recall. So then the next day, December 8th, which is today, or actually no, it's December 9th, but because yesterday, I decided to send that Ethereum over to participate in the Dream Team ICO. So when I did that, I assigned a new unique ID of 2, and the first thing that I had to do is I did an exchange of my Ethereum. So call that the Ethereum token here, and I only did 0.22. So I didn't do the 0.23, I just did the 0.22 because I just wasn't really thinking it through, and I just did 0.22, and this is the market price at the time. So it actually increased in value during that time. And the transaction type, I said it's an asset exchange, and this is the date, and I made my ledger balance go down by this amount, and then this was my new ledger balance on the Ethereum ledger. And then I just, in the notes section, I said it was for an ICO contribution, and I hyperlinked the transaction record. And I do this so like 6 months from now, or like whenever, like 4 months from now, I can come back and this will kind of get my memory jogging. Then I created a related transaction and I made it 2A. To me, that'll tell me that 2A is related to 2. That's just my way of organizing things. And the token symbol, I put Dream Team. That's not an actual symbol. Dream Team doesn't have a token symbol, I think. So I just put that there for now. And I put 0.22 because I contributed 0.22 Ethereum at this market price. It was an asset exchange. That's what I categorized it as. And then I said that this is the date that it happened, and then that increased the value of my ledger by $99.88. So the ledger balance is now $99.88, and it is specific to my Dream Team my balance on the Dream Team ledger. And I called out the fact that this is related to transaction 2, so that 4 months from now when I come back here, I can remember that this was part of my ICO contribution, which I call out here, and then just link the transaction record here. So this is more or less how I'm planning to track my transactions indefinitely until there's some better solution out there. I still have some questions. I'm still trying to figure a few things out. Like, for example, one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, so you can see, like, I bought 0.23 Ether and I got rid of 0.22 Ether. But, like, how do you know, like, that 0.22 Ether that I got rid of is from the same 0.23 Ether, like, in theory, right? But I'm assuming that this 0.22 is the same, comes from this 0.23, but then that leaves me with like 0.01, and when do I account for that 0.01 Ether? Like, am I gonna just, in my next sale or my next trade, like, am I gonna say, like, I made a small capital gain on that 0.01 Ether? Like, these are the types of things I'm not sure about, and quite frankly, I personally don't know if I'm gonna spend a lot of time spinning my wheels on thinking about how to account for that. The main point of this documentation is to just help me do my best in being IRS compliant, and I guess if I get audited, I can show that I did my due diligence. So that's basically what I have. You can download this template. It's linked in the description. It's nothing fancy. It's literally some thoughts on a spreadsheet. As I mentioned earlier in this video, this is not tax advice. If you want tax advice, you're gonna have to talk to a tax professional, at least if you want legitimate tax advice. And then, I mean, for those who are not thinking about taxes, who are just, on cloud nine, because of the gains they're making, like, really consider taxes. They are a serious thing. I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking about like 5 years from now. What if I want to cash out and it's just worth tons of money? And it's like, if you did that and then cash out and suddenly have all this money, it's like, well, the IRS be like, hey, like, what about all the other years you were holding? You weren't doing anything else. So, I mean, these are things to consider. So once again, this is not tax advice. The purpose of this video is to just at least let you know that taxes are required to be paid for your cryptos. And my recommendation is, at a minimum, document your transactions, and unfortunately they have to be manually. And because of that, I've created this template, and I hope it's useful for you. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like this video, share it with any friends that might find it helpful, and that's it. Thanks for your time. Good night.